Yeah, well, I like how you're kind of bringing in different voices because there are so many different perspectives on these passages, and especially like the head coverings one, because I've heard that passage being used in very, very conservative circles around why women should be wearing like veils over their heads, because Paul is kind of alluding to that.
Yeah, if that's what he's talking about. Uh, the problem is it's difficult to interpret the Greek there, and I'm a systematic theologian. I'm dependent on biblical scholars here, but it either means hair, I think, down over or something. I don't want to do the actual, but anyway, it can be. Some scholars say, well, what he's clearly talking about is a manner of wearing the hair. So some scholars have interpreted this to mean that they should have their hair tied up on top of their head, and I guess I would say a bun, and not just simply down loose. Other scholars say no, he's talking about head covering. But what's really clear, if is that the issue of controversy has to do with what would have been a gender marker in first century culture. So for when people say, well, because Paul says that women should wear head coverings, that women should do that today, wearing a head covering does not have the same social connotations in 21st century culture that it might have had in first century Corinth. So it's if a symbol is not communicating what it's intended to communicate, then it's sort of an empty symbol. It would be if here in the U.S. if you see if you're driving down the road and you see a sign that says "Do not enter," and you're on the right side and coming in on the left side of the road, well, that's probably not a good thing. However, if you're in England, you're not going to see a sign that says "Do not enter" if you're on the left side of the road because these are just culturally different things. So and it's interesting that even most complementarians don't say women should wear head coverings, but they do say that the head covering is a symbol of male authority, and therefore women, whether they wear head coverings or not, should recognize that the men are in charge. But that doesn't seem to be what the passage is about, or at least most scholars today outside of complementarian circles would not say that.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Delgado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.